On January 10, 2022, a member of a consumer survey released these images. These are thought to be Armored Core 6. So what is Armored Core? Armored Core is FromSoft's big title before Dark Souls took over the spotlight. In most games, you are a mercenary that accepts missions from big corporations that are usually at war with each other. And there's usually some sort of plot twist, from having to stop an elite pilot from gaining control of alien technology, to trying to destroy an out-of-control AI that rules the world. Most of the games have an apocalyptic feel to them, and they set a good depressing tone. The gameplay consists of taking your fully customized mech out on various missions and arena fights where ACs square off for the title of Ninebreaker, which is a fancy way of saying Arena Champion. So let's talk about this game's bread and butter, what makes it special: the customization. You can customize your mech in a variety of different ways, from head, to core, to arms, to legs, to lock-on system, to generator, to booster, to weapons. All at the same time giving it a nice paint job down to the very last detail. Maybe you want to get close up and shred with a machine gun and shotgun. Or maybe you want to keep your distance and watch some missiles fly. Or possibly do some drive-bys with large missiles with a ridiculous paint job.
Motherfucking drive-by!
I'm your host, AAG, and we'll be taking a look through almost all the Armored Core games, from first to last. Armored Core 1 released as a launch title for the PS1. It released with 138 parts in total that you can mix and match to your heart's content. The game has definitely been aging for a long time, as you can see in this intro cutscene, and the first thing we should probably go over is the controls. If you're observant, you can see that the PS1 controller doesn't have any sticks, which might have a negative effect on a third-person action game. The controls were pretty much made tank controls, and it's very uncomfortable to learn at first.
System engaged.
So your first mission in this game is to go ahead and take out 2 training MTs. It's fairly simple, and afterwards you're officially classed as a Raven.
The test is over. From this moment on, you are a Raven.
So the first thing you want to do as a Raven is go ahead, start a mission, and kill yourself as fast as possible. And you want to do this for about the next 30 minutes.
At the end of the day, go kill yourself. Go kill yourself. Go kill yourself. Go kill yourself.
You want to get to negative $50,000 in debt 6 times so you can take an experimental injection that's totally safe and totally effective. Okay, maybe 90% safe and effective? Alright, 80% safe and effective. But you know what? I'm totally happy with those odds.
Is this the subject for our next experiment?
Yes. His papers say he was a Raven.
Ah, so he took the usual route here.
Seems to have piled up quite a debt.
Must have dashed his dreams. But he will be reborn in this experiment.
That is, if he lives.
You have a point there. Let's get started.
So aside from the pretty sick cutscene that you get What else do we get after wasting 30 minutes of our time? We get a free radar function without having to use a radar on our back. We can shoot energy beams while swinging our laser blade. We can effectively use back weapons without having to kneel down, and our booster only consumes 50% of the energy that it would usually. Now, Human Plus has always been a controversial topic in the community, especially when it disappeared in the later games. But you know, for as broken as it is, it adds a lot of fun into the game. I mean, if this wasn't in the game, you wouldn't have access to a bunch of the awesome back weapons without having to use very slow tank legs. So let's cover the customization. Originally I was going to take 10 minutes to describe everything, but that's just going to take way too long. So to sum it all up, first you have core parts, which include head, arms, the core itself, and legs that vary from light to medium to heavy. Legs also include reverse joint legs, quad legs, and tank legs that all have their differences. Then you have your generator that supplies energy to your mech, boosters that accelerate your mech and allow it to take flight, and lock-on systems used to target enemies. There are tons of weapons in this game, pretty much any weapon type you can think of in real life, from machine guns to missile launchers. There's also some sci-fi weapons like laser rifles, energy cannons, and laser blades. So now let's get into the missions. Before every mission, it gives you a briefing that will inform you on what your objectives are and what enemies you'll be facing. This gives you the ability to prepare your mech based on the situation, before actually going into the mission. So starting the very first mission, we can turn around, boost over the vehicles, revealing a hidden part. This is the first of many. So let's take a minute to talk about hidden parts. Some of the best parts in the game are hidden throughout different missions. Some of the parts include the best in-slot boosters you can get, the famous Moonlight Blade that has appeared in most of From Software games since Kingsfield, and the Karasawa that's a legendary energy rifle that shows up throughout the series. The weapon was actually named after a developer with the name Karasawa, who was involved in the development of Kingsfield and the first 3 Armored Core games. Unfortunately, sometime during the development of Master of Arena he passed away, so rest in peace. But thankfully his name lives on through one of the most overpowered weapons in this game series. Now back on the topic of hidden parts, they actually did a pretty good job of hiding these. One of them's inside a box in some storage area. Another one is on a piece of scaffolding on the side of a building. There's even a mission where you're tasked to defend a part inside a warehouse and you can just destroy the door and pick up the part for yourself, failing the mission. Another part is hidden at the bottom of a big drop that you have to trigger an explosive trap to reveal. And this game really does just blow my mind with all the features that they added in. From customizing your mech with the parts you want to put on it, to painting it, to hiding parts all over the place, to having missions with interesting objectives, it's really just crazy. It's certainly a lot of content to fit onto a PS1 disc. And I really want to go back and give the first mission a compliment for creativity. Construction workers modifying their heavy equipment with weapons in fear of their protests being retaliated against by their big corporate overlords is a really awesome idea for a starting mission. But this mission also showcases the faults that are in this game too, from this bad translation error to being able to just jump off the bridge and go into the water without sinking. Like, why exactly is there this bridge if the water is just like knee-high? I don't get it. So the other possible first mission you could have gotten is to eliminate squatters. This game does a pretty good job predicting a 1984 George Orwellian type future. And it also shows you that you are not really the good guy. You're gonna take whatever mission you can, you're a mercenary. There's no hero complex in this game. This is further added to with a mission where your main priority is to just wreak havoc in a city. You want to run over cars, destroy light poles, and kill police enforcement as soon as possible, eventually being chased out by a mech. Or if you're good like me, you could just kill it. And this is what drives me nuts in the game. I went out of my way to kill this AC and they won't even acknowledge that I killed him, even going so far as to say that I should be happy that I escaped with my life. What do you mean I should be happy I escaped with my life? This dude was literally blown to ashes. I killed him. but thankfully this only really occurs in the early games in the series. Now would be a good time to explain the mail. Half of the time when you finish a mission, you'll get mail. It serves to fill in the story and show you what's going on in the world. Some mail is to tell you that new parts have been added to the shop, or inform you that you have been rewarded with a part. I really like this system, because information isn't shoved in your face, but at the same time the only way to accept these reward parts is to check the mail and to check the message. I remember when I was younger, I didn't check my mail in Armored Core 2, and by the end of the game I checked my mail and I was like missing out on 7 free parts. So let's jump into the story. I want to go out of my way to say I am not looking at the wiki for this information. This is just information that was given to me through the course of playing the game. So I'm sure it goes into a lot more depth, but this is just my personal summary. In Armored Core 1, the world is ran by corporations, the big two being Chrome and Murakumo. There are other small companies and terrorist organizations, but for the most part, the big players are Chrome and Murakumo that are in constant conflict with each other. And I'm not even going to pretend like I can give you the lead up to these different endings, so I'm just going to show you. You have the Chrome ending.
So, I have failed. This means the end of Murakumo. After all, pawns are mere pawns.
A Murakumo ending.
The struggle for market share between Murakumo and the up-and-coming Verge company is becoming more and more intense. Future developments look interesting.
So, nothing has changed after all.
And an ending where you take down the controller that has secretly been pulling strings in the background.
Are you satisfied? Do you want to destroy order? Destroy the world, is that what you want? We were needed. That's why we were born. People cannot live without order, even if it is a lie. Go on living, Raven. You or I? Which one of us was ultimately right? You have the right, the duty to find that out.
I'm not big on stories in games, so maybe some lore enforcer in the description can fill in some blanks, but having 3 different endings in a PS1 game is definitely impressive. When you finish your first playthrough, you're free to play any mission in the game for anything you may have missed, which is a part of the reason I haven't been able to plot out the endings. But this is for the best, because you get to see every mission this game has to offer, such as this one that I missed, that has you defending a giant airship against jet fighters. It's a really cool mission, but these stupid fucking jets stress the shit out of me. Even though my weapon has a smart lock-on, these things are hard as shit to kill. Probably one of the enemies that pisses me off the most in this game. One of the franchise's biggest missions has you taking out 4 gun emplacements on some base that's in the middle of shallow water. It's visually a really cool level, and it's a good example of how you only need to complete the objective. You don't have to kill any of the small troops along the way, just complete the objective. Another famous mission in the series has you taking out these rogue drones that are defending a facility. You have to destroy them without causing any damage to the generators inside. And as you can see, I had to restart this mission, but really cool concept. Another mission sends you to a train depot, where your objective is to defend the train that's coming in for refilling, and you get attacked by another AC pilot. This is one of the AC pilots that went in debt like me, so he went mentally insane. And I really like this encounter, so I'll just let this one play out. Yeah, the plasma cannon I'm using is pretty broken. And I gotta show off the most laughable cutscene of this game.
Raven, help me! Monster!
So yeah, maybe they should have came up with a better line. But the mission itself is pretty cool. You get to face this like giant robot. Just another really awesome mission in this game's list of 47 missions. Now we should definitely shout out a few of the bad missions. This mission, for example, wants me to come in and destroy the space station, but the plan changes soon after, and I'm put on the clock to make my escape. Now if I turn back around and try to go out the door that I came from, it's locked. So heading back is just a total waste of time, and proceeding onwards is just a huge maze. Like, unless you understand the layout of this ship, there's absolutely no way you'd be able to do this mission first try. There's a whole nother upstairs level to this place. And to make matters worse, the objective that they originally give you isn't even accomplishable. Like, there's nothing I can see to destroy the space station. I've come back 3 separate times to try and figure out if there's anything I can actually do here, and there's just not, which is really lame in my opinion. But this mission is a perfect example of the trial and error that I just hate. It's not like it's any difficult. The second that you know the layout of this space station, you're able to complete the mission 100% of the time. It's just frustrating. But the biggest sin in this whole franchise, I have to say, is when they throw indoor missions at you. How much sense does it make that there's a bunch of these structures that specifically have walkways for mechs the size of 4-story buildings? And this first game in particular has so many of these indoor missions. You know, it could be because of the PS1's limitations, possibly how much can fit on a disc, or just laziness or crunch on the developer's part, but none of these indoor missions are really fun to look at, and they're certainly not fun to play in. So that's all I really have to say about Armored Core 1, and with that, let's jump into Project Phantasma. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of a weird intro. It's probably the weakest intro in the series.
Strike the pose. Strike the pose. Strike the pose. Strike the pose. Strike the pose.
Okay, so getting slightly more serious, how do you start this game? You can import your save data from Armored Core 1, or start fresh. If you start anew, you do miss out on having some parts carry over from Armored Core 1, and you lose your Human Plus status, with no way to get it back. This is obviously bullshit, and sadly this isn't the only game in the series that does this to you. So what's new in Project Phantasma? Well, other than 22 new parts, there's an arena. Now, Armored Core 1 did have a ranking system that showed us where we stood as a pilot, but it left a lot to be desired. Project Phantasma meets this desire. There's 50 arena opponents, and they all come with their own emblems and description.
Those who know me, I'm a nobody. You understand? And you can't kill a person with no body.
Yeah, it didn't really turn out so well for this guy. There's a bunch of different battlegrounds you can choose to fight in, like this underground city, this military base that's covered in snow. You can actually destroy the buildings here too. There's a dried up marina that has you battling at nighttime, a generic arena level, an outdoor flat plains type area, a city that's lit up in the night, a very small but wide underground cavern, a more spacious underground cavern, a dried up plains area that has a ravine running through it. They got whatever the fuck this area is that looks like it's straight out of Dragon Ball Z. This is probably my favorite arena map out of all of Armored Core. Just looks sick. They got this map from Armored Core 1, which should look familiar to you. A military base that's from Armored Core 1, and then finally ending it off with another area that's from Armored Core 1. This is probably my least favorite area. And boy oh boy, do these PS1 games have a lot more arena locations, way more than the PS2's. The arena took me about 2 hours to speedrun through, and after about 2/3 of the way, I had to switch up my strategy to make up for the high speed and expert tracking of some of these pilots. I ended up switching out high-powered weapons for the machine gun and the rifle, for a bigger lock-on box. Something weird I discovered going through the arena is these groups of pilots that are in some sort of clan. One of these groups exclusively use quad legs like some type of elitists, and the other group seems like a cult-type followers of the rank 1 AC. It's a really strange idea, and let's talk about some of the problems I have with the arena. First off, it seems like any challenging opponent at the top just uses the Kurosawa or any energy weapons, and they'll just spam the shit out of it till they're out of energy and won't even bother switching their weapons.
Let's see that in an instant replay. Let's see that in super slow-mo.
And it's gone.
So they fire every shot, miss, and then slowly just try to boost towards you while not being able to shoot you. Now thankfully the rank 1 pilot does not have this issue, but he has a different sort of issue. This dude equipped like the worst fucking boosters in the game. He's slower than a turtle.
Super slow, man. Super slow, man.
Despite how slow he is, I still managed to barely beat him. I think if he didn't swing that laser blade at the end, it would have been game over. And let's listen to that banger. Now, I'm not a big fan of Sasuke, but I'd bump that shit with 215s in the trunk. So, defeating the top-ranked pilot, we get this weapon called the Finger.
Hey, Doofy, smell my fingers.
Hey, Terry. Smell my fingers.
And I know there's a lot of overpowered weapons in this game, but this weapon has to take the cake. Just look at this tank's health disappear. And I only used about a quarter of my ammo on him. But the downside is, using this thing melts my eardrums. It's the loudest firing sound I've ever heard, and thankfully I'm gonna save your ears from the same fate. So now that we've worked our way through the entire arena, we can move on to the missions. It's a lot shorter with only 17 missions, and a cool thing is the loading screen has gotten an upgrade. Instead of it just saying loading, we get some mission information to look at. The first mission starts out with a nice little intro cutscene. This mission was given to us by a mystery client, with the requester's name only being 3 question marks. And the game pretty much just gives this one to you. You gotta destroy a few tanks in like 3 minutes, and even if we didn't make it to number 1 in the arena and buy out the entire shop, this still would have been a pretty easy task. So we finished the mission, checked the mail, and we're told we're gonna get some more difficult missions moving forward. And honestly, I think it'd be pretty impossible not to get a more difficult mission than that first one. So this second mission's pretty cool. It has you destroying 4 generators around this base, and inside the base you have to track down some hidden computers. And these 17 missions sure do feel a lot longer in length. So I guess a higher number isn't everything. So back to the mailbox to check out the cool translation errors. We're told that they'll keep in touch and it's off to the next mission. This mission has us rescuing a transport, the one in the middle. We have to take out the one in the front and the one in the back. And more sick-ass PS1 cutscenes, yay. So we take out some enemies, then blow up the leading and the following vehicles. And we're graced with another cutscene.
All the traps we have set have been destroyed. Useless. This is a warning. Leave the premises immediately. You cannot hope to defeat Stinger. Listen, I don't like annoyances.
So once again, back to the mailbox. So we're told that the mission that we were sent on was a fake mission. Does that mean it was requested by the enemy? It's weird, because the transport we were requested to rescue got destroyed by Stinger, so does that mean Stinger's on our side?
I guess my warning did not deter you. You are becoming a nuisance.
Well, I guess that's a pretty big note, and I hope you've done a lot of arena matches to purchase some better parts, because this mission is a tough one. This fight isn't even the beginning or the end of this mission. I guess now I should also tell you guys why we're here in the first place. Our mission is to rescue a prisoner and then escape in a lightweight plane that they stashed away. So who the fuck are these people if they're able to stash away a lightweight plane in a laboratory that most likely belongs to the enemy? Like, I'm down for a creative story if that's what you want to do. If you want to get away from the whole mercenary, big corporation type story, but at least make it believable.
I will go now. Remember that we are not yet finished.
And when you finally defeat Stinger, he's still alive, and you can't kill him. No matter how hard you try, he's just left alive. So you go through thousands of enemies and you finally make your way to the prisoner you're supposed to save. And what the fuck, does the prisoner have a transport? So you gotta save her and continue on through the mission, and sadly this door is not the end of it. The mission goes on even further. So another 5 minutes goes by and we finally make it to that lightweight plane that they said we needed to escape on, and it doesn't look very lightweight. If it's carrying mechs the size of 4-story buildings, I don't think you can call that lightweight.
Thank you for your assistance. I am Sumika. I am the one who requested the rescue mission. I am a Raven in Amber Crown. I was captured during my mission. I've heard they are developing an advanced weapon system, but not what type. We do know they're called the Doomsday Organization, but have very little on their Project Phantasma. They are researching how to combine computer technology with the human brain. Of course, they have no idea what the end result will be. I was almost their first test subject. We cannot leave things as they are. I will stop them, even though it's not really my job. I want you to assist me. I need a strong partner, so you're it. This will be your next mission.
So where the fuck did she get all this need-to-know information from? Does this game have one of those villains that won't shut their mouth when it comes to prisoners that are doomed to death? She says she'll stop them, even though it's not her job, so it's not like she was sent to spy on them in her 4-story mech suit. She does call herself a Raven, so she wouldn't be doing these sort of spy jobs anyways. And how exactly was she able to pass on a mission request? Was it after she escaped and made it into that transport unit? How long do you think it would take to send out a request, then have us accept it, and make it to her location? And this has to be in a short time frame because they realize she escaped. And then you have them sneaking a lightweight plane into the facility. Like, this story is really wonky, and I can see why they never came back to this concept and why they've always just stuck with big corporations and computers running the show and not really straying anywhere away from that from this game forward. So pretty much the rest of the game has you tracking down leads on the Doomsday Organization, trying to figure out info on their project codenamed Phantasma. I'm just gonna cut the crap and go over some cool things and then wrap this game up. So this mission says the start time is at 5:37 in the morning. So I was wondering, is it going to be light out or is it going to be dark? But I was really impressed the moment I figured out the mission starts out dark and then transitions into the morning light. I also just love the level design of this mission as well. All the trees everywhere, and there's a village. It's just beautiful to look at, even for a PS1 game. And something about seeing a human walking around is just really weird. And I just love all the short little cutscenes that this game gives you. It's not like Metal Gear where you're going to be watching a movie. They're usually just like 15 seconds long. And they're nice to have in. And this is my first time playing Project Phantasma, and yeah, it's just something about seeing that small little dude just blows my mind. You don't really see that in the Armored Core universe, unless it's in a cutscene. So then there's a mission where you have to escort a transport, and for some reason it takes 2 ACs to do this. But good thing, because Stinger shows up again. Really wish I could have just killed him last time, instead of having to deal with him now. But you and your waifu managed to defeat him again, and then just watch him fly away. Yeah, don't worry, just stay with the target. It's not like we should split up and one of us should go after him to finish the job or anything. And we should probably talk about this lady in the pink mech that's been accompanying us on almost every mission. This is the prisoner that we rescued. My notes tell me that her AI is a bit wonky, but I just can't find any footage to actually show that. So yeah, for half of the mission, she'll actually help us out, and it's nice to have some jolly cooperation. And she's obviously a pretty big part of the story. And speaking about pretty big part of the story, guess who we get to fight again? At least this time he's in something different. Still not a hard fight though. And coming out of this cutscene scared me shitless. Like, this dude was right there. And I have nightmares of fighting this guy in one of the later games. So guess what happens after we win this fight? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. If you said run away like every other time we fought him, you would be wrong. He actually flies away. Here's a pretty cool mission locale. This mission has you defending a castle, and there's even a moat out front with the bridge going over it. Just a cool level design. This mission's got you running from above ground to underground to try and open these gates, so that way you can progress through the level. You activate the terminals to open the gate, and then you go through the intended path. And guess who we're greeted with at the very end of the level? It's our best friend Stinger! We literally just got done fighting this guy 2 missions ago, and I don't want to even think how many times we fought him up to here. But yeah, we fight him again, beat him again, and then he runs away again.
Oh shit, here we go again.
The funny thing is, he runs away into the next room, which is enough time for him to get out of his mech and into something else, and escape. Our character must have been picking his nose or something. Like, I know I'm tired of fighting this guy. And then Samika comes in and pretends like she's actually been in this mission. Pretty much she got separated at the start, went to explore somewhere else, but at least she's here for the final cutscene of the level. Why does it always have to be this guy? Like, you got 50 ACs just sitting around in the arena. So after he escapes, he sends us a DM saying that he's become Phantasma and that we should meet up in the abyss. And I just was not able to find him down here. So final fight with Stinger, I'll just let this play out. It's a pretty cool fight. I like his rainbow laser beams that he fires. With all the overpowered weapons that are in this game, I wouldn't really call it a hard fight.
I'm losing? Impossible. I'm burning. Phantasma. I'm dying.
So yeah, not really a hard fight. And by the end of it, we get to see our character clip through the wall flying out of this place. And how cool would it have been if after this fight you get to unlock this area for the arena? So we make it above ground and Samika has some words to say.
We did it. We destroyed Phantasma. Maybe we could have adapted the technology, but I guess it's better this way.
And after a long awkward silence, we just decide to dip out, ignoring her.
Nope.
I would like to ask for your help again later. You are quite a strong ally to have. Just give me a discount next time, huh?
Nope.
So we beat the game, watch some credits, and reload our save. There's no new arena entries, and this time there's only a few missions that we missed. So Project Phantasma, it added in the arena, so it gets its spot in the history book. The story was really focused, but not built very well. And I'm not big on stories, but when a game forces a story on you, you should really make sure that it makes sense. It had some new parts, so that was pretty cool. So without me having much more to discuss in Project Phantasma, we can finally jump into the last of the PS1 Armored Core trio, Master of Arena. Now this is how you do an intro. This got a banging music track on it, shows you a mech being equipped for combat, then making it to the arena's elevator while cutting to some AC action along the way, ending with the now equipped mech boosting into a fight with 9-Ball. This is how you do a mecha cutscene. This blows the past 2 games' intro cutscenes out of the water, and brings an impressive strong start to this game. So what's new with Master of Arena? There's 27 new parts in the game, and a stricter focus on the arena. In fact, such a larger focus that they had to put this game on 2 discs. But other than that, not much is new. This is, after all, the 3rd installment of the same game. Sadly, this game is going to get the least amount of coverage out of the PS1 games. So with all that said, let's jump into it. So just like the previous title, we can import our save from the last game over. If we go and try and start up an arena match, it won't let us, we're not important enough. So we need to do a few missions. The reason being is we don't have a sponsor, so we need to go get one. This first mission has us going after a chronic corporate hacker.
Hacker Man. He's the most powerful hacker of all time.
And they sure do make it a chore finding this guy. And I'm sure you all can guess that I'm not a big fan of these underground levels. But we find him. And man, this is some top grade voice acting right here.
Oh no! A raven! I'm no match for one of them! Don't shoot me! I'm leaving now! What? Another one? 9-Ball? What's a top-ranked arena AC doing here? Oh!
I heard you've been looking for me. I don't care who you are. No one can defeat me.
He's the one you've been looking for, huh?
Okay. If you're confused, then all I have to say is so am I. The only piece of mail we got when starting the game is our mission organizer who only introduces herself. Why is it so hard to make an understandable story in these early games? I know it's my fault in Armored Core 1 for only getting one ending, and doing the rest of the missions out of order and free play, but in Master of Arena, I'm just all of a sudden thrown into this backstory that it doesn't even explain to me. So I wish I could have more detail, but I just really can't. So we do a few more uneventful missions, and a company reaches out to us with a deal. If we can destroy the targeted AC, they'll be our sponsor, and we'll gain access to the arena. Now I want to just go ahead and say here that I got a new mic, so hopefully there shouldn't be any audio issues, there shouldn't be too much artifacting. This was the best I could do. There's a lot of background noise, so this is just personally the best I was able to achieve. So with that being said, we can destroy the AC and jump into the arena. There's 4 new stages, as if Project Phantasma didn't have enough. There's a collapsed bridge going over a dried up river, a claustrophobic parking garage. We have this stage that I would call a walled off preservation, but something tells me it's not. If ACs are able to trample all over it. We have one of the cooler stages that straight up has us fighting on the moon. And we have a stereotypical old western town. They even faced us off in opposite directions of each other. This obviously doesn't really have much of a place in an Armored Core game, but it's a pretty cool stage. And they went and remade the arena so it looks like it's underwater instead of in space. Another new change is now there's tiers to the arena. You start off at the low tier and work your way towards the high. This only really serves to make you wonder where you are in terms of progression, and I don't really like it because you can't even look at the number 1 in the arena. All you can see is whichever tier you're stuck in. I can tell they put in a lot of extra effort when it comes to varying AI difficulties, at least compared to Project Phantasma, but some of the lower tier fights just come off as brain dead. Just take a look at this meme of a fight against Frogman. I don't think this guy even fired off one single shot. He's more interested in just jumping around and looking like a fool. Straight up meme fight though. They did a much better job coming up with some short backstories for these arena contestants. It adds a bit of immersion to the game. The biggest change is that we can't just stay in the arena until we're rank 1. We're going to be interrupted by requests by our sponsor to save their ass, and I would say that's a positive. It has to be easier with the storytelling if the starter missions aren't calling you useless when in reality you're the rank 1 pilot, but it really doesn't make sense in this game. Our character is popular enough for 9ball to take notice of us straight from the first mission, and if 9ball knows about us, I wonder why we even need a sponsor in the first place. So let's hop into the story from where we left off. After we complete a few arena fights, our sponsor gives us a direct request to save an important member of the company. They already sent another AC pilot, but he was about as useless as they come. We defeat the enemy and save our damsel in distress, and it's all good. Until we get back home, where our mission organizer has a complete breakdown. And if this was real life, I'd be telling this individual to go kick rocks. I pretty much do all the hard, dangerous work, while all she really has to do is get missions for me. And then she just gets all upset when I don't need her to do her job. I would get rid of this chick right on the spot. We also get a message from the guy that we saved. He is the head of development at ProgTech. And remember this guy's name because we're definitely going to see it a lot more. His name will be on the test. So we clear out the rest of the low rank arena, and now all we have left is missions. This mission has us taking out this huge like armored fort thing that you would just swear would be from Armored Core for Answer. This was a really sick fight. This next mission we get is a request from our sponsor, but don't worry, this time our wife knows about it. We have to reclaim a package that was stolen by a high-ranking arena opponent, and man, it was a pretty big maze getting here, and it's a pretty clever fight too, because the dude just guards the door with like explosive weaponry, so if you go down that hallway you're just screwed. So after this, I guess they trust us to participate in the actual arena. I guess the prior arena that we played in wasn't really the arena, so now we get to play with the big boys.
Happy feet. One more combo. That ain't Falco. That ain't Falco.
With all the OP crap that's in these games, it's really hard to have a challenging fight. But you know, I'd rather feel powerful than feel weak. And once again, our license has a hold on it. Our sponsor needs help defending a laboratory from MTs. So just like that, we're off. And there's like 4 different points we have to defend. And we kill all the MTs, and a familiar face appears.
Why are you here?
So 9ball attacks, and we have to put him down Ol' Yeller style.
You are too powerful. Modification is necessary.
Target of operation cleared.
So we save the most important person in the company once again, and he says he's going to try and dig up some information on 9ball for us, and he makes sure to remind us of the bad blood that apparently we have. And this mission was a direct request from the company, so our mission organizer is just not having it once again. Like, she straight up wishes that we die. Just because we accepted a mission from our sponsor who gives us access to the arena. Like, bruh, I wish I could take this chick out back Ol' Yeller style. Fuck 9ball, my beef is with this chick. So it's back to the arena to take out our anger on some other pilots. And this is another meme fight. This guy is rank 7. I'm gonna let this shit play out and you have to tell me if this is acceptable for a rank 7 fight. Like, this just blew my mind. At least he gives us a good view of the seafloor. Like, come on, dude, this guy is so bad he shouldn't even exist. Like, putting him at the very bottom of the arena, in the low pool arena, like, is way too much for this guy. I wonder who looked at this shit and thought it was a good idea. Like, oh yeah, that's a good rank 7 pilot right there. You know, 6 spots under 9 ball, yeah, sure, throw him right there. Dude, this shit just has me laughing my ass off. All the things I said about them improving the AI, just please throw that out the window as soon as possible. So we beat our friend that should most likely have a position under Frogman, and they revoke our license. Like, how can you revoke someone's license on that pathetic fight? But once again, we're forced into a mission. So pretty standard procedure type stuff. We gotta help our company Frog Tech with defending Prog Tech. Geez, now I'm thinking about frogs. And I want to take this mission to showcase an example of the hidden parts that are in this game. We straight up destroy the mayor's house, and underneath his house is a cave tunnel big enough for a 4-story mech to fit through, and another hidden wall concealing the part. I give it 10 out of 10 for creativity, but 0 out of 10 for believability. So we go above ground and finish helping our friends out. Pretty simple mission. And after Project Phantasma, I'm kind of amazed that 9 Ball didn't show up to try and take us out. So back to the mailbox and the arena. Some information came out about 9 Ball. No one's actually met him in real life, and a bunch of information on him was deleted. So the dude's a complete mystery. We spend a good long time in the arena, and our buddy at ProgTech reaches out to us again. Pretty much any corporation that's been in cahoots with this guy has either reached massive success or instant failure, and the leading mind over at ProgTech seems to think that the company is in 9 Ball's sights. So we have some fun in the arena, and our license gets revoked again. We gotta go save our good friend Elon for the 5th time. I guess this is sort of the best way for them to bait us out.
This is Elon Cubis. 9 Ball is right in front of my current location. It seems as though I am not his target. I think he's waiting for you. Be careful.
So we blast through some useless enemies and make our way to 9 Ball.
People who have too much power will destroy everything. You are one of those people.
So, arena and mailbox. It looks like 9 Ball still has his #1 position in the arena, and Elon tells us it's the Raven's Nest that was responsible for flushing 9 Ball's papers down the toilet. It's important to know that Raven's Nest is in charge of organizing missions for mercenaries, so if Raven's Nest had some sort of bias, they could shape the world any way they desire, which is pretty much what's going on. So we finish decimating our way up to rank 2 in the arena, and Elon is under the impression that 9 Ball isn't even a real human. He hacked his way into Raven's Nest databank and found out 9 Ball's name is more of a name for a part than a name for a human. Our loudmouthed liaison seems to have some sort of connection with 9 Ball too. Only if Chronic Hacker Man was still with us, we might have a shot at piecing it all together.
Rest in peace.
And what do you know, right after we're told of our previous mission organizer's connection with 9 Ball, she reaches out to us with congratulations, and just like Project Phantasma, we're called out to end 9 Ball once and for all. And it's a pretty cinematic mission with its own story to tell, so I'll just let it speak for itself.
Why are all of you here? Why do you insist on interfering?
The corporation, the ACs, the Raven's Nest. All of these were formed by me, for the sole purpose of recreating the world and humankind with it. That's the duty to which I've been entrusted. wield too much power. Those will only bring chaos. They are simply not part of the program. I was created to protect mankind and this world. I intend to fulfill this task. Modifying program, final level. All system checks are complete. Combat mode is now engaged.
So oddly enough, the ending to this game has a striking resemblance to the first game. I didn't really show any footage of it earlier on, but it looks like 9-Ball is pretty much an exact replica of the 9-Ball in that game. And also the final missions are very similar. In Armored Core 1 there were also multiple 9-Balls defending the computer. I'm not sure what inspired them to just copy Armored Core 1. The Armored Core series will pretty often reuse its own content from the older games, but both of these games are on the PS1, and it's not like Master of Arena is that much of an upgrade from Armored Core 1, so it doesn't really make sense here. So once again, after beating the game, we can reload our save and play all the missions that we missed. Now this game has a whole nother disc that specifically caters to adding in more arena content, and I think that's great, but personally not something I need to cover for this series. And I'll just roll some footage from some of the missions that I missed while I give my outro. So the final PS1 game in the series, Master of Arena, I think it did a great job perfecting what you would want out of an Armored Core game. I wish they would have taken like 15 seconds to give you some of the backstory of your character. And I mean, the voice acting is Armored Core grade voice acting. That's something I feel like they've struggled with every game in the series. And when it comes to the PS1 Armored Core games, they're just really hard to go back to and play. I didn't grow up with the PS1, so playing these old 3D games just really isn't my style. One thing I can safely complain about is the piss poor frame rate, and how it always seemed like the enemies I were fighting were off my screen. Like, you just have to have a general understanding of how the enemy AI works so you can predict exactly how much you should turn. And I mean, you can see from most of the footage if you go back through the video that over half the time the enemies were off screen while I was firing at them. But you know, for working with what they had, it turned out pretty well. I played Armored Core 1 in the past, but I never played Project Phantasma or Master of the Arena, so this was my first experience with them. And yeah, I'm really glad to be heading into the PS2 games. I mean, I can complain about the controls, but honestly, the controls carry over halfway into the PS2 lifespan, so I'm not even gonna cover that much here. The weapon balancing in these first few games definitely are a problem too, but these PS1 games aren't even the only ones with that problem, but it's just a lot more noticeable in this one, like the finger just being able to wipe out a tank in like 15-20 seconds. And yeah, that does it for the PS1 Armored Core games. If you stuck around to the very end, thank you so much for watching. If you learned anything new or got any enjoyment out of this, please like and comment. I was originally going to throw all these games into just this one episode, but it has been a lot of work just doing this one. I've had a lot of audio drama. I've pretty much been learning how to edit on the fly, trying to cut down as much time as I can, and honestly, it's really time consuming. So any constructive criticism that I can use in the next episodes, please tell me down in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon in Armored Core 2.